Here comes the second lesson in dashboard creation. What have we already done? We've already cleaned up our data. We've already created 2 extra sheets named Analytics and Dashboard. We've already set up the basic template of the dashboard. What we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to create 3 KPIs up here, and then we're going to create our very first pivot table here in the analytics sheet, and then we're going to copy paste the slices across to the dashboard and put them here. That's lesson 2. So let's start off with this one. We're going to go here to insert and shapes, and I like the rounded corner rectangle or square, but you can choose whatever is most appropriate for you. The first thing we do is we fashion the first one, and we go to shape fill and make it no fill. Alright, no fill. Alright, where's that? Yeah, in the apple. This is the apple, by the way. No fill. Shape outline I'm going to make white. Okay, perhaps make it a bit thicker. So let's go white. Let's make it a bit thicker. So there we have our first KPI, or the box for the KPI. What I suggest then is you hold your you basically copy that. You can hold it and click and drag it, or let's see if it works. No, not working with the apple. Let's look at control. Okay, yes, there we go. Alright, it is working with the apple. So there we go. And control and drag down here. I'm going to go here. Now we can align them, so if we click on the command button and make a multiple choice, so I'll click on the command button here, make a multiple choice. On the Windows keyboard it would be the control button. Let me just deselect this one. Okay, deselect that one. We're going to align those, so we would go to shape format over here, and we would go to align. So if you go to align over here, we're going to align to left, and there was a slight movement there, as you can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to also align to top. Alright, so we're going to go to align to top, and watch the tiny movement. There we go, you can see the tiny movement. Now they're identical sizes and they're nicely aligned. I'm also going to insert an icon here. Let's go and insert some icons. In the Windows machine it looks slightly different, but there we go, loading icons over there. I'm going to search for a bike. Okay, search for a bike. It's online, should be online, okay, and it should find the bike. Okay, as luck would have it, the apple is not working here, or not communicating, should I say. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go bike. I'm a little impatient, obviously. Insert one, and there goes my bike, but it mustn't be black, it must be white. So we go to graphics format on over here, and graphics fill and white. There we go. So there we have the icon and the 3 KPIs that are set up. They will be populated obviously with formulae in order to display certain key metrics, but we're done with them. Now, what do we do now? We go through to data. Just to let you know, by the way, if you format it as table, it's quite possible to insert slices, this kind of thing. So if we were to insert, say, salesperson over here, that slicer would then limit and filter this. But we're not going to do that. I'm just showing that by the by. Let's get rid of that slicer. What we're going to do is we're going to insert a pivot table, and we are going to go to the existing worksheet, and we are going to choose a particular cell inside the analytics worksheet, should I say. There we go, we've chosen that. That's where the pivot table goes, and we click on OK, and it's now ready to be populated. What I would recommend is that you create here a pivot table that you would like to display on the dashboard, and also one that would allow you to create slices which you can cut and paste onto the dashboard. So let's go, for example, to I think I can go to, we can go to salesperson and province, province and salesperson. So let's go over here to province, drag province down to rows. Let's go to sales over there. All right, and we can choose then of course what channel is it's being sold through, or no, let's go rather type of bike. So we're going type of bike, but my type of bike must go up here to columns. There we go, that's the pivot table I want. Right, so I've created that pivot table. Now what I'm going to do is insert a slicer based on that pivot table, or let's say two slicers, okay? So one slicer will be a channel, all right? And the other slicer will be salesperson. There we go. Click on OK. Two slices based on it. Now what I'm going to do is, obviously those slices affect that particular pivot table. I'm now going to cut and paste those pivot tables, okay, to the dashboard. Right, here we go. So we're going to put them here. Right, there we go. There's the one slicer. We can format it later. Let's go back to analytics. Let's click on channel. Cut that one, and we're going to the dashboard over here, and we're going to put that one down here. There we go. Let's make them nice, so we can align them as well. We can do all sorts of things here. What I'm going to do is change the design of the slicer. So we're going to slicer over here. Let's make it bolder in the blue sense. So there we go. Let's make this one as well bolder, so it fits with the current design pattern. Okay. All right, so we go back to analytics over here, and one of the things I'm going to do here is I like to create copies. So if we go here and create a copy here, all right, you could have gone straight from the first one, but I like to duplicate. So Command X. And we're going to go to the dashboard over here, and we're going to place that pivot table there. Now those slicers should work with that pivot table, which indeed they do. All right, as you can see they do. By the way to make sure of that is to go to slicer and to go to report connections here, and then you can see which pivot tables they relate to. I'd like to actually, firstly, let's make the pivot table look bold like the other one, so let's look at the different designs. I'm going to go with a bold design over here. There we go. And I'm going to put a conditional format on these numbers here, never on the grand total, obviously. So home and conditional formatting. Let's put some really good looking data bars on there. Right, so they're the data bars. Okay, so as you can see, the slicer is now working nicely with us. Okay, very nice. Okay. Retailer and web, and there we go, two slices working nicely. So there's my pivot table. So far the dashboard has grown nicely with some slices on the left, some KPI placeholders up here, the little icon heading up there, and we've got a pivot table here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to once again copy paste. Alright, I'm going to copy paste, and I'm going to create a map visual, but the map has to be manipulated. So let's go and show our field list. I'm in the pivot table here. Let me select the pivot table, analyze, and I'm going to activate the field list. And let's take out the sum as the type of bike. We're just going to go simple province. There we go. And as you know, with maps, you've got to trick Microsoft Excel. So there we go. We're going to paste values there. Let's paste special and paste our values. Okay. All right. Values over here. It's different slightly in the Apple, as you can see. Now I'm going to insert map, and with maps over here, filled map, it should pick up South Africa. Alright, it takes a bit of time. I've not worked on this machine before, so I'm needing to accept for legal reasons, and it should pick up South Africa now, which indeed it does. Now I have to trick it to go back to look at the pivot table. This is just a trick you have to perform. You have to perform this kind of trick. There we go, we're choosing that data over there, and OK. And now I can get rid of these two columns. Alright, I'm not going to delete these over here because this is the analytics back office workshop, see? So there we go, and Command, or in Windows case, Control X, back to the dashboard. Let's put that graphic here, Command V. There we go. Let's make it look really nice. Chart design. So I'm going to make it dark gray over there. I'm going to add some data. Okay, so chart design and the data. It's not in Windows. We get the option of hitting the little plus on the top right hand corner. So where would that be? Okay, quick layout, change colors, add chart element. Right, I am indeed in virgin territory here. Automate. Now we go view. No, not happening. Chart design. Where do I activate the data? Can I right click? Okay, select data. Bring to front, save as assign macro. No, not happening. Anyway, there we have our. Now you will see that the slicer works nicely with the map. Would be nice if those numbers were showing, but anyway, let's go and change the chart title over here, and the chart title is changed by just retyping national sales by province. Okay, there we go, looking pretty good. So the slicer is working very nicely with both. Let's see if it works with this one. Indeed, retailer and web, yes. Okay, very nice, looking good. Here ends the second lesson. Okay, let me just end it. There we go, and stop recording.